Hey, good morning. It's Ali Benjamin here live from the Satya Center here on Facebook, Growing Edge Inspiration. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. So happy that you're here. We are an online community as well as an in-person community, and we are meeting live as we speak in Ogden, Utah at 795 24th Street. And so welcome. If you would like to find out more about us, you can go to thesatyacenter.org and you can get to know us. And if you have any prayer requests, you can submit them there. And we've got an amazing team of conscious living, spiritual living practitioners that will go to work with you on whatever it is that you are seeking to manifest as your life, in your life. So, welcome. You found an amazing community here that is open-minded, heart-centered, service-centered, and is ready to be the change that the world needs now. So, I'm so happy you're here. I can see that there's Carol. Hey, Carol. Good to see that you're here with us. Michael's online, and Michael, my husband and one of our amazing practitioners and ministers in training, is going to be fielding all of the questions and posting lots of comments. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them right here, so we know that you're on and you're connected and you're listening, and we can be supportive and helpful to you. So welcome to Growing Edge Inspiration here at the Satya Center with the Satya community. So I'm watching the time here. I jumped on a little bit early so that we can connect with the community as they start to come online. I know that there's a group of individuals meeting at the Satya Center in Ogden, and I hear that it's snowing there. I'm here in Big Bear Lake, California, and so we are one community but spread all over the place. So I know the Satya community is dealing with snow, and I trust that you were able to get into our center and you're settled around the fireplace, and you've got the monitor on, and we're live here together in this amazing virtual community that keeps on expanding and expanding. We also offer a Thursday night live here on Facebook, and that's a little bit of a longer experience and interactive. So if you'd like to join us on Thursdays, you can find us here on Facebook at the Satya Center, and we go live at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And so welcome everyone. So I'd love to know that Ben and Mona are on. So when you're on, if you could let me know, then I can start communicating with you directly. So welcome. If you're joining us for the first time, hang around. We've got an inspirational message. We call it Growing Edge Inspiration, and we start at 10:15 a.m. Mountain Time every Sunday right here on Facebook. And if you haven't liked our Facebook page, please do so. Follow us, like us, the Satya Center, and you can become a part of our ever-growing community. And our mission and our vision is to, we envision a world where all beings live in love, joy, and freedom. And we are all about inspiring minds, healing hearts, and transforming lives. And we do this by sharing new thought, ancient wisdom teachings. So this month we've got two books that that I've been taking my inspiration from. I know this is probably backwards. This is one, and this is The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible by Charles Eisenstein. Awesome book. And the second book is this, Favorite, The Science of Mind by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And so I've combined their messages, one from the beginning of the 1900s, and Charles Eisenstein, who's totally alive and awake and a thought leader and a conscious evolutionary and an agent for change. So I've merged the two messages, And so in just a minute, we can get going with the message. So hello, everyone. I see Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Deborah. Welcome. Welcome, Karen. Allie Benjamin here. And I'd like to start with a meditation. So if you will, just take a moment to settle yourself, find a spot to sit, and take a big, deep breath. Breathing in and exhaling. Arriving in this moment. Nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Simply be here now in this perfect moment where we're closer than close to that indwelling spirit, that infinite intelligence that is manifesting itself so beautifully, so perfectly as all of life. This one amazing experience that we all share, that we're all a part of, that we're interconnected, interrelated, interdependent, into being. And as we open up our minds, open up our hearts to experience oneness right here, in this moment, beyond all of the ideas of separation and borders and boundaries, one life, one humanity. And so as we open up to that truth, that realization, we settle and we arrive, and we know that right here, right now, is everything that we need, everything that is required for us to experience peace and joy and power and love and creativity and intuition and oneness. So as we arrive, as we settle, as we open our hearts and open our minds, let's take a breath together, breathing in and exhaling. One more breath, breathing in. Exhale and completely relax and let go. Just be. Placing your hand on your heart, acknowledging that you are the presence of love, acknowledging that you have given yourself this gift of being here today, being present, giving yourself a moment of spiritual inspiration, a spiritual tune-in and a tune-up. And so as we give ourselves this gift of community, of belonging, of caring, of learning and growing, we simply say thank you. Thank you, Spirit of Life. And we release and let go and know that it is done and it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Opening the eyes and coming back to this moment. So welcome to Growing Edge Inspiration. My name's Reverend Allie Benjamin, and I'm really excited today to be talking about pattern interrupt. And this is a series of talks that we've been enjoying for the month of January, based on the book by Charles Eisenstein, The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible. And so, what is the more beautiful world that your heart knows is possible? Because we're the ones, now is the time. And we get to, because we're thought leaders, we're on the very leading edge of our own becoming. We are agents for change, and we know that our thoughts create, and what we focus our attention on, energy flows there. So we are ultimately creative, ultimately powerful in creating exactly what this book says, a more beautiful world, the one our hearts know is possible. And for sure, we need this now. Look at what's going on around the world. I mean, doesn't our hearts just crack open with wanting more love to be expressed through humans, because that's what we're here for. We're here to be the presence of love. And there's so much turmoil, so much confusion, so much anger, so much craziness. So what I know is we can start right where we are with what we've got, which is our thoughts and our loving nature. And so as we develop thoughts of loving kindness, as we be the hands to serve this world, to serve this community, the hands that build a more beautiful world, we then start to feel empowered. And that's a great place to start. So pattern interrupt, we're going to be exploring some ways that we can do course corrections or correct the negative patterns of thought that might be going on in our mind that keep us from remembering the truth, that we are ultimately powerful, ultimately creative. And so when we forget that, when we forget we're creative, when we forget we're here to be the presence of love, we can start to think some really crazy thoughts, right? Thoughts like we may turn on the news and start believing it. We might start feeling disempowered and hopeless. We might start to sink into feelings of deeper sadness and frustration. And all of those thoughts, sadness, frustration, anger, hostility, judgment, all of those thoughts that we can sink into when we forget who we truly are, who and what we truly are, those thoughts have a particular vibrational frequency. And that particular frequency of sadness, frustration, anger, disappointment, all of that, attract to us more of that. We have the eyes to see more of that in our world. So it behooves us to uplift our thoughts, to start thinking thoughts of peace and well-being and creativity and innovation. And when we're at that frequency, we start seeing and experiencing more than that. So this is so important to know, because we're the thinkers that think the thoughts that create the things. So we choose our thoughts. So I've come up with some ideas of how to interrupt the pattern when that broadcast of negative thinking's going on. We can interrupt that pattern, do a course correction by doing these things. First of all, Charles Eisenstein says, the world as we know it is built on a story. To be a change agent is to disrupt the existing story of the world. And second, to tell a new story of the world, so that those entering the space between the stories, he's talking about the old story and the new story, those that are coming in, that aren't influenced so much by the old stories, but are here to jump into a new story. We're kind of the bridge people, and we get to invite the new people in, those babies that are being born now, the children that are coming through school now. We get to create the world that is fertile ground for love and peace and harmony and creativity. So how do we do that? So to tell a new story of the world so that those entering the space between stories have a place to go. Often these two functions merge into one, since the actions we take that are part of the telling of a new story are also disruptive of the old. So we get to disrupt the old stories, those old patterns of stories like life's difficult. I don't know what negative stories you may have learned in your families, but I know that me and the students that I've been involved with all tend to have these negative stories that keep us attached to the past, attached to ideas of limitation and lack and scarcity, stories about duality, when the new story, the new paradigm, the new reality that's actually the very old reality is that there's only one, that we're all one, we're all interconnected. And Charles calls it interbeing. So as we wake up to interbeing, we start to feel the enormous creative energy that we have, and we can't stand not to share the love that is living in our hearts and minds. So here's the pattern interrupts. So to be a change agent, to really be at the growing edge, to be the manifester of your own destiny, to start to create this world that is a welcoming place for the babies coming in and the young ones growing up. Number one is develop your intuition. This is a faculty that has been dormant within humans. Well, it's time for us to wake that up, and it happens through meditation. So start meditating a couple times a day, even if it's a minute in the morning and a minute at night, and start listening to that still small voice within. Our intuition is what we need as agents of change, conscious evolutionaries, as we start to bridge this old paradigm with the new paradigm that we're creating, where everyone wakes up to their intuition so that we have a more loving way of communicating that is supportive of everyone, because we're more connected intuitively. Number one is develop your compassion. And compassion is twofold. Compassion requires us to be absolutely accepting of what is, not judging what is. And that's very difficult when we turn on the news and we hear of missiles and we hear of war. And it's hard for us to not go into judgment around that. But if we're truly practicing compassion, we resist the temptation to judge it and move to do something more empowering. Move to do something more inspiring for yourself, something that you love to do, versus focusing on feeling helpless and hopeless because of what other people are doing. Move into a place of non-judgment and being at peace inside your heart. And the second part of compassion is unconditional love. Loving everyone unconditionally, knowing they're doing the best they can wherever they are and whatever they're doing. Another great pattern interrupt is to ask yourself, and I'm going to ask you this right now, just close your eyes and ask yourself this question. What if this moment is the most perfect moment of my life? What if this is the most perfect moment of my life? And just breathe and just contemplate that. What if this moment is the most perfect moment of my life? And there's an expansiveness there. There's a opening up there. There's a lessening of the critical monologue, the critical voice inside our heads. When we contemplate, this is a perfect moment. Why? Because it is. It's the only moment. And every moment, if we have the mindset of what if this is the perfect moment, if we had that mindset every moment, we wouldn't be in judgment. We wouldn't be negative. We would just be here, inquisitive, intuitive, tuned in, curious. That's who we are. And when we're living that way, the world opens and things, people, opportunities start presenting themselves. And then the fourth pattern interrupt is to be the light. Be the light that you came here to be in every moment. You are a gift. Your brightness, your brilliance, your truth, your caring, your kindness, your ability to listen to someone, your ability to hold someone's confidence, your ability to be a helping hand. That's the way you're the light in the world. And when we can all realize that we have the ability to show up as the light, the answer to someone's prayer, those are 4 ways to do a pattern interrupt when we find ourselves believing that things aren't going so well in the world, or things are helpless or hopeless. So again, develop your intuition, meditate, develop compassion, ask yourself, what if this is the most perfect moment of my life? And be the light. So that's my gifts for you. And I have a question for you to contemplate today and an affirmation. So the questions are, the beliefs we hold and think. Oh, sorry, that's not it. The questions are, do you like the story you've been living? Knowing that we all create our own experience, and the thoughts and the words and the actions that you take create a particular story, and then you project that story out onto the world. Do you like that story? Do you like what you've been living? And if you were to write a new story, what would it be? And would your story, this new story that you're about to write, would it disrupt the old stories, the old paradigms that are falling apart, that don't work? Would your new story help create the more beautiful world that your heart knows is possible? I think it would, and I can't wait to hear your story, so please share. So I have some affirmations, if you will, listen and repeat. I interrupt the mental and physical patterns. I interrupt the mental and physical patterns that no longer support my peace, that no longer support my peace, that no longer support my joy, that no longer support my joy, that no longer support my well-being, that no longer support my well-being. I embrace a course correction. I embrace a course correction. And the last affirmation, I tell a new story. I tell a new story, one of grace, one of grace, one of love, one of love, one of light, one of light. So namaste, thanks for joining us today. If you've enjoyed this message, if you've enjoyed being a part of this community, we're so glad that you're here. We're so glad that you are. And if you'd like to contribute to the Satya community, the Satya Center, so that this message and our workshops and classes and online presentations can continue, you can Venmo, push us some love via Venmo to Satya Center, SATYACENTER, Satya Center, and you can Venmo that to us, and we deeply appreciate your gifts and offerings, and know that your generosity, your gift that you're giving yourself, because when we give, we're really giving to that infinite flow of good that is constantly flowing in and through our lives. So when we give to where we're spiritually fed, we're just opening ourselves up to more spiritual nourishment. And so thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you on Thursday night when I'll be joined with Leslie Monroe. She'll be playing some music on the keyboards and singing some amazing songs. And my beloved partner, Michael, the three of us will be offering an amazing Thursday Night Live, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So peace and blessings, lots of love to you. And please find us on Facebook and make your comments. Let us know the love. Let us know that these spiritual teachings have been supporting you, and that you're ready to be the change that the world is looking for. So namaste, peace and blessings. Bye.